Hi, I'm Catherine Lazorko, Communications Manager.
And I'm Maurice Jones, Town Manager for the Town of Chapel Hill.
And we're joining you from Chapel Hill Town Hall to give you a quick recap from the last council meeting, which was March 20th. I thought we might start with the housing and urban development funding for the town.
Yeah, every year the town receives funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program through HUD from the federal government that can be used for neighborhood revitalization and other initiatives that help within the community. And so on the 20th, the council opened up a public hearing on that to hear comments on the projects that have been identified as part of that funding initiative. And so there was that first part of that. Right now, we are reliant on the federal government to receive that money, and there will be a process at the federal level to see if that money is approved generally across the country. If it is, we'll receive a significant amount of money, several $100,000, that can be used for these projects. And so the public hearing was opened, and we'll continue hearing from the public on that issue.
And that's a process that happens every year.
Every single year.
And the funding goes toward neighborhood revitalization, different affordable housing initiatives, and a lot of other good things for the community. So.
Including the potential of providing some assistance to the IFC this year.
Okay, all right. So that'll be coming back on April 10th for
That's
the final vote. Okay. Then we've got the Glen Lennox Performance Initiative.
Yeah, this is a major development at Glen Lennox, which includes retail, residential, and office space. But this incentive package is focused exclusively on office space because here in the town of Chapel Hill, we haven't seen a lot of office space built in the last 9 to 10 years or so. This project promises over a period of time about 500,000 square feet of new office space here in Chapel Hill, which would be really important for our community and for economic development. And so what the council was considering was the possibility of providing an economic development grant to the developers once the buildings are open. So nothing happens until those buildings are open and the developer is paying taxes on that. And then for a period of 5 years, they would get a grant each year that would total over those 5 years $2.2 million. But of course, in exchange, we're getting 500,000 square feet of office space that will be helpful here. It will create jobs in our community, and then also it will be part of a larger project with the residential and retail.
Understanding that, it makes sense why it's so important to the council.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Grubb Properties, the town has had a very good relationship with that particular developer.
And the neighborhood as well. We've heard from a number of the neighbors near Glen Lennox who've been supportive of this project.
Okay, so that full agreement will come back to the council and for public review.
What the council approved on the 20th was to allow me as town manager and the town attorney to negotiate those terms and then come back to the council later on this spring for a formal vote.
Okay. Then we had the Independent Senior Housing Development, which is the 198 apartment project off of Homestead, a proposed development.
We've heard a lot about this project. It's come before council several times over the course of the last 5 to 6 months or so. And what the council was considering on the 20th was a 4-story building. There had been at the January meeting, there had been a discussion with the council and the developer and the neighbors of that property, the possibility of a 3-story building. But that came about as an idea very late in the game. And so as part of the discussion on the 30th, we had said that if the developer can come back with a 3-story footprint with a site plan, we could review that and get back to them pretty quickly. Soon after that meeting, the developer decided that the timeline wasn't going to work for them, so they decided to come back with a 4-story, the original 4-story blueprint, which they had presented to the council and gone through the process up to this point, and they came back to council asking for that 4-story consideration. What the council decided on a 5-2 vote was to approve the rezoning. However, in order to formally adopt that rezoning, the council needed 6 votes. So what this does is it moves it out a couple of weeks. So it will come back on April 10th for further consideration on the rezoning and then also on the special use permit. Because the rezoning wasn't approved, the special use permit was not considered on the 20th, and it will also come back on April 10th for consideration. So on that night, if the council approves it on a 5-4 vote or a 5-3 vote, they get 5 votes, then it will be approved on the rezoning, and then they will also take up the special use permit discussion that night as well.
A little more complicated than our
Much more
typical
complicated,
development,
that's right.
but back on April 10th, and
That's
I know
correct.
there's a lot of interest in that one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the key issues that were discussed on last Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Of course, there's always more information on our website. Just click on council videos. The council meets on most Wednesdays, and in April, that is the case. The next regular business meeting is on April 10th. Thanks again.
Thank you.